Alright, welcome back to my channel. This is Jacob here. If you're new to my channel, I'm helping people how to improve their social life, coming out as a more confident, charismatic person so they can find it easier to make friends and build their social circle. So if you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe, because that way you will be notified every time I'm uploading a new video. So this is an interesting topic we have here today, and that is, how can you be a better storyteller? How can you tell your stories in a more interesting way, and how can you come out as a more charismatic storyteller so you can hook people into your stories? So if this interests you, make sure to watch the video until the end. Also, this is a special video today where I'll give you a bonus later on. So make sure to watch until the end and don't skip to the end, because there's some important information and value you need to understand first in order for you to get most out of the video. So let's get right into it. The first point I want to mention here is you need to be able to hook people you're talking with into your stories. Get their interest first, because otherwise they might not even listen to you, or they will find you boring and stop listening at you eventually. You could start out with something like, "Oh my God, you won't believe what happened to me yesterday," or "Oh my God, you won't believe what I just saw the other day," or something like that. Tip number 2 is make your story relatable to the people you're talking to. Don't just talk about random stuff that nobody cares about and that people can't relate and resonate with. Because you need to catch people's attention, and sometimes that can be difficult if you don't have the right angle. So it's important that you make it relevant and that the people you're talking to can resonate with your story. Speaking of relatability, go follow me on Instagram if you haven't done already, because on there I'll put a lot of energy out in my Instagram to give you value that you can resonate with, things you can implement into your social life that will make the whole process of you talking to people and expanding your comfort zone and learning how to network in a professional and in your private life. So go follow me on Instagram there. That way you will learn a lot you can implement in your situation. And feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. I might be able to help you out. Tips number 3 to include in your stories is building humor and jokes within your stories, so it doesn't come out as boring and that people will laugh. It will just have a whole other impact on the people you're talking to if you can make it fun and crack some jokes once in a while. Tip number 4, make it emotional. Make it so emotional, describe it how you felt and how it was feeling for you and the other people in the story. What did it look like? What did it sound like? What did it smell like? What was the whole experience you got out of it? That is important, because otherwise it just becomes flat out boring conversation stories with no deeper level, so people will not find it very interesting. But if you're able to bring out a lot of emotions about how the environment was and how the whole experience was for you, then the people you're talking with will have a feeling of it was kind of this if they were there with you. And that's the goal you want to work on. So they will feel that they actually knew how it was to be in that situation, in that story. Tip number 5 to include in your stories to make it more charismatic and more exciting to listen to is to make pauses. Because if you make pauses once in a while, then you will also give your story a whole other dynamics. Especially make strategic pauses once you want to make a clear point. You see what I did there? Make pauses to really state out a point or make something very clear. That way you will also have a better story to tell. So these was 5 quick tips I wanted to share with you here, but I also have a bonus for you here as I promised. And now we're gonna jump into a story told by Will Smith, a very charismatic person. He's gonna talk about his experience with skydiving, and I'm gonna break down what of these points, when he's using it and why it's so important and why he can hook other people into his stories. So without further ado, let's crack right into it. Alright, so here is the video where Will Smith talks about his experience with skydiving. I'm gonna link it in the description so you can check the video out as well. I'm gonna pause this video once in a while so you will get a better understanding of how to use it in practice and how he does it in this story. So let's start this video.
Skydiving is a really interesting confront with fear. I gotta stand up. I gotta stand up.
First off, see how he hook people by saying, "Oh, I gotta stand up for telling this story." Well, why do you need to stand up? Already there, you're hooked and you're interesting and you laugh. So it's just a great way to start a story. And no, I don't mean you have to say every time you need to tell a story that you need, oh, I need to stand up to tell this story. But it's just a perfect example, the way he hooks the audience and the people he's talking with. And yeah, obviously this is a talk show, so that also plays in a role here, but it's a good point to hook people.
You go out the night before and you take a drink with your friends and somebody says, yeah, we should go skydiving tomorrow. And you go, yeah, we'll go skydiving tomorrow. Yeah, yeah. And you go, yeah. And everybody goes, yeah. And you go home by yourself, you're like, Right? You're like, well, I mean, they was drunk too. So then that night you're laying in your bed and you just keep, and you're terrified. You keep imagining over and over again jumping out of an airplane and you can't figure out why you would do that. So you get there and then you have this safety brief and you're standing there and the guys will tell you, well, if the chute doesn't open, what's going to happen is well, why the hell, what could happen? So you get onto the airplane and you're sitting there and you know, it's extra because you're sitting on some dude's lap, some stranger, trying to make small talk. Yeah, man. So you be jumping with people all the time, huh?
So here he's using humor as well to make the story more fun, also make it relatable when you're out drinking with your buddies, and sometimes you also comes up with crazy ideas, so it makes you relatable. You can resonate with the story. And also he's using humor here by telling the small talk part when he's sitting on some stranger's lap.
So you fly and you go up to 14,000 feet and somebody opens the door, and in that moment you realize you've never been in a freaking airplane with the door open. Terror, 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 terror. And then people start going out of the airplane. And the guy walks you up to the end of the thing, and you're standing and your toes are on the edge and you're looking out down.
Try to notice here how he's hooking the audience. And yeah, also Will Smith's social status plays in a role here, and it's a talk show, but he's making it very emotional. He's describing you how he's feeling in the moment when he's about to jump out an airplane. And you don't even have to see the real video footage of him jumping out of the airplane, because as a listener to his story, you know exactly how it looks like because he's painting it out in your head. So that's just a good way to tell a story, if you can get the people you're talking to really feel how that experience was, even though you're not in the story yourself.
To death. They say on 3. 1, 2, and he pushes you on 2 because people grab on 3. And you fall out of the airplane, and in 1 second, you realize.
Again, here he's using strategic pauses to stay the point and captivate the listener. Like in 1 second, you realize. It comes out way better and more interesting than just in 1 second you realize. So implementing strategic pauses in your sentence to captivate people into your stories is a great way to improve your storytelling.
That it's the most blissful experience of your life. You're flying. There's zero fear. You realize that the point of maximum danger is the point of minimum fear. The lesson for me was, why were you scared in your bed the night before? What do you need that fear for?
All right, I'm gonna stop it here because here's a good point what you need to include in your stories, and he's doing it so well. He's stating a lesson, something he learned from the experience, and it's just a great example that he's hooking the listener with a point that he's learned something from this experience. And people love to hear stories when there's a lesson or moral or something you learned by the experience. It gives people the sense of achievement, not only by the experience, but also growth, emotional triggers, and memories. And the stories we remember the most are the stories where there's a lesson or something that we learned from the experience. And he does it very good where he combines his stories with fear. We can all relate to feeling fear sometimes. But his lesson was, why do you need to feel fear in the first place? And that's just a very good point to the story. And that's why it's a really good story, a very good lesson, which makes it a very charismatic and catching story.
Everything up to the stepping out, there's actually no reason to be scared. And then in that moment, all of a sudden, where you should be terrified is the most blissful experience of your life. And God placed the best things in life on the other side of fear.
All right, so this is just a perfect example of how Will Smith is able to end his story with a very strong lesson, with something he learned from the skydiving experience, that why was he afraid and felt fear in the first place. And that's just something that we all can relate to, that makes this story very good and catching, because we can all relate to feeling fear of the unknown, fear of stepping out of our comfort zone. So that's why this story is so great, because he also gives you a lesson what that story taught him, what he got out of that. And that's just a strong way to end your stories. And you're, as a listener, kind of make you sit thinking, oh man, I really want to go skydiving now. I want to face my fear. I want to get out of my comfort zone. I want to take more chances. This just gives you a sense of empowerment. And that's just a wonderful way how he does that, because it makes you feel that you want to go out and achieve things. And everyone can relate to fear. So this is just a great story, and the way he's doing it is very powerful. And that's something you should include in your stories as well. Something that gives people relatability, and that you got a lesson out of that story, out of that experience. Something that people maybe can relate to and learn something in their own situation.
All right, I hope you got a lot of value out of this breakdown of how Will Smith talked about his experience with skydiving and overcoming his fear. It is so important that you implement these things in your stories, and it takes practice. But once you learn it, it becomes so much easier for you. So this was it for this video. I hope you liked it. If you do, give it a like up and make sure to subscribe. That will help my channel out. If you want to learn how to be more charismatic and outgoing and face your fears in social situations and environments where you think there's too much social pressure and you don't know how to talk and share your stories and show the real you to other people, then I have something cool for you here, because you can jump on a free consultation call with me. All you have to do is to click the link in the description. That will bring you to a page. Read what is on that page, because it's very important information to get you started. And on the bottom there's an application. You can fill that out. It will take you 2 minutes or something like that. And then I'll have some information about you, and then I can customize the free consultation call for you. This is not some general advice I'm gonna give you. No, we're gonna break down exactly what are your sticking points, what are you struggling with, what do you find challenging, and how can you overcome that, and how can we make a step-by-step process in your situation on how you can be more social and confident and meet people, so you will have a way better experience when you're out with people, and also can bring more people into your life and build your social circle and meet more people you find interesting. So if this is interesting for you, then book the free consultation call by clicking the link below. I can only work with a handful of clients at a time, so book the free consultation call today. So until next time, important to overcome your fear and build experiences. That is, at the end of the day, what bonds humans together. Sharing cool experience with each other, or telling other people about what kind of person you are and what kind of stories you have to offer and tell to other people. So remember to take action, and until then, see you in the next video. Have a great day out there.